We have an update from one of our sponsors, the Vegas Near Me app. They are constantly working to add more information. We tell you that all the time. The app is free. We also tell you that. But gosh, when we get these updates, it really is incredible how much information is inside.
Yeah, Vegas Near Me has recently partnered with Vegas.com to get you the best prices on show tickets. In fact, they have over 1,000 shows listed inside the app.
And also, we know sometimes you need a quick break or a familiar go-to when you're in Las Vegas. And they do have more than 1,400 chain restaurants and stores listed in there. They have more than 8,000 individual locations, so you can find them. We're talking Walgreens, Starbucks, fast food, you name it.
And we all love to save money, don't we? Well, Vegas Near Me is going to help with that too. Right now, they're offering 50% off of shows at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, plus a $99 bottle package at Crazy Horse 3 for up to 4 people, including transportation.
Yeah, that's a good deal. And there's lots of other deals in there too. So get in and look around. Vegas Near Me is free. You don't have to put in your email. Download it in the Google or Apple App Store. Hours, locations, even the length of shows are in there. It's really good. You can even find live music, kid-friendly activities, maps of inside the hotels and casinos. It really is a lot of information in your hand.
It is. Vegas Near Me. Download it today.
It's episode 217 of Vegas Revealed, our sit-down with the new owner of the Rio Hotel and Casino.
People need to know there's new ownership. People need to know that $350 million is being put into this property. People need to know that the best hotel talent in town is here and leading the charge. And with that is going to come a great product. So people just have to forget what once was and focus on what is.
We talk with Eric Birnbaum about his plans for the property, are more Vegas developments in the works, and why he says the Rio's rewards program can't be beat.
We had a lot of questions and got the answers. Our new interview coming up on Vegas Revealed.
Vegas Revealed, presented by Level Up Law, starts now.
Welcome to Vegas Revealed, episode 217. Dana Roselli and Sean McAllister here with you, and we have a fantastic interview to share with you this week.
Yeah, I think for fans of Las Vegas, people who visited here or lived here for a long time, back in the day, like the late 90s, early 2000s, the Rio Hotel and Casino was the place to be. I mean, they have the rooftop nightclub and steakhouse. The inside had so much going on. The Bevertainers were working the floor, singing, dancing, and delivering drinks to your gambling machine.
Yeah, and there was a time there when, the Shintas performed. There was a time when Prince performed. The Chippendales and Penn and Teller are still there. And they're upgrading the entire property. We've told you about that before, but now we had a chance to sit down one-on-one with the CEO and founder of Dreamscape. And Dreamscape owns the Rio now.
Yeah, Eric Birnbaum is his name. And we had a lot of questions about how he plans to kind of restore some of the luster that the Rio used to enjoy. I mean, we cover a lot. We talk about the changes we'll see, why customer value is a top priority for him, and what entertainment is going to look like moving forward at the property.
Yeah, just a couple months ago, we covered the Rio, their food hall, and we got inside the rooms, and you probably heard that episode if you're a dedicated listener to Vegas Revealed. If you're new, you might not have, but you might want to go back. But since then, we also posted some social media posts, like what the rooms look like, the food, that kind of thing. And we probably had we go by this because another one was Old Red, that we got a lot of interaction, a new place on the Strip. But Rio, right up there with the amount of questions that we have received. And so we listen to what people want more of, and we thought, let's try and get an interview with Eric.
Yeah, so we went straight to the top to get some answers for you. So without further ado, here is our interview with Eric Birnbaum, the CEO and founder of Dreamscape, which is the company that now owns the Rio.
There's been so much talk about the future of the Rio for years and years, and I'm just curious, what did you see in the Rio?
Saw a lot in the Rio, and still do. Look, I think from our perspective, this was an iconic asset. And when you go back to the early 90s and really all through like the early 2000s, this was, this was the spot. It's hard to bump into somebody who used to frequent or went to Vegas back during those times and didn't have an experience here in one way, shape, or form, whether they stayed here, whether they went to Voodoo Lounge or Club Rio or saw Prince, what have you. There were so many unique moments and iconic times that people had here. And I think for us, we saw an asset that still had that potential and still had that ability to be brought back to life. So for us, it really was just, how can we take this asset or take this project that, I guess for lack of a better word, was a bit neglected and a bit overlooked by previous ownership, and bring it back to its effective glory days. So we felt like we were starting from a very good place to begin with. And I think in addition to that, having its brand recognition and having its awareness within people's minds, was a very good place to start. Sadly, over the past, let's call it decade or so, I think the perception of the asset was not what it once was. So we've been working very hard to try and let people know, hey, things have changed, things are different now, and things are moving, closer to where they used to be versus to where they have been.
Yeah, and I know you talk about people having memories. I'm one of those people. I have memories of days, nights, the whole nine at this property. So it is exciting to see that there is a commitment to bring the Rio back. And you are doing a top to bottom renovation on the property. Kind of walk us through the timeline. What's been done, what still needs to be done, and when you expect those to hit those milestones.
Yeah, I mean, we are still very much of a work in progress, and we're still, very much renovating, but we've done a lot already to date. We have done 1,500 rooms already from top to bottom, so completely remodeled 1,500 rooms in what we call the Ipanema Tower. We have just reopened our pool deck, so that has been completely remodeled and refreshed. We recently opened up our new food hall, that's called Canteen, so that's now open and happening. We are in the middle of, as you may have seen when you came in here, the casino floor is in the midst of being remodeled completely from top to bottom. We are opening up our new sort of marquee, I guess, circle bar, if you will, that's going to be called Lapa Lounge. We have a new food and beverage venue that's going to be opening up in about a month or so called Luckley's, which is going to be an American tavern and grill. Let's see, I don't know if any of you have seen the new facade that we did. So the facade got remodeled, repainted, refreshed, and in addition to that, all new lighting, a whole new LED display. I don't know if there are Fish fans that are out there. They're going to actually be playing at the Sphere on April 18th. So the designer that does all the lighting for Fish actually programmed and did all of our designing for our facade. His name is Chris Caruta. So that's been pretty exciting. And we refreshed and remodeled our convention facility. And the list goes on. I mean, they're just opened up a new Starbucks, and we're continuing. So we are effectively taking down portions of the asset, refreshing them, bringing them online, and sort of working our way through that process. And it should, knock on wood, all be done, I would say, very much by the end of this summer, and then completely done by, I would say January of 25.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And that would be, just to be clear, that's considered phase one. Then there's a phase two, which will be the Masquerade Village, which is another 1,000 keys, and that will all be reconceptualized and revitalized ultimately. And then in addition to that, we have 22 acres of excess land that at some point can be something. So we are walking before we run, and we're just going incrementally and trying to be like as thoughtful as we possibly can.
Yeah. And when you say Masquerade Village, we were curious. Are you going to keep the Rio name? Is it like the theme of the Masquerade? I mean, obviously, we've been here a long time, so we know the show in the sky was so popular. I mean, would that ever come back? I mean, are you going to keep things the same, make changes to names, bring back anything?
Well, I mean, certainly the name Rio is staying, so that, we have, that is an obvious. As far as the Masquerade Village and the show in the sky, it's really, we have a big whiteboard and we have lots of different ideas. That is one of the ideas, but nothing has ultimately been decided yet on that.
Well, put our check on the whiteboard. We love the show in the sky.
Okay, done. Noted.
Noted.
I mean, there are only, I would say, 3 attractions in Las Vegas that stop people in their tracks, and I think Show in the Sky was one of them.
Okay.
I've seen the entire casino floor packed and just looking up, waiting to catch those beads.
Yeah, and it's interesting. A lot of performers in Las Vegas got their start in the show Show in the Sky. Yeah, which is so interesting because they're all like gone off and doing their own things and super successful. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. But when you walk into the Rio, what do you want people to think? What do you want people to imagine? What do you want people to feel?
That's a good question. I think at the end of the day, when you go away and when you go, whether it's vacation or even if it's work, or when you leave home, you're coming into somebody else's home. And so this is effectively like our home becomes their home for however long, an individual is staying. And when you have 2,500 rooms, and let's say that you average 2 people like in a room, that's 5,000 people that have that want something different. So the question is how do you connect with 5,000 people, and how do you appease 5,000 people? I think the obvious things that one always wants to do is you want to be courteous, you want them to feel good, you want them to feel that they're welcomed into this home of theirs for the next however many days that they're ultimately staying. And then you want to give them an experience that feels good and fun. You're taking them, many people are coming here for a convention. So sometimes conventions aren't the most fun things in the world. It's work. So how can you sprinkle in a little bit of fun and a little bit of an enjoyment while they're working? And so whatever that may be, whether that's a good meal, whether that's a courteous staff, whether that is playing, some games on the floor and entertaining themselves, you want every interaction to be enjoyable. And I think our job is to try and make each individual has 1,000 interactions between when they walk in to when they leave. And each of those interactions gives an imprint on somebody. So whether that is the person that greets you at the reception desk, to when you press the elevator button, to what you're looking at, to how you're being greeted by somebody, whatever that interaction is, you want that to be like a pleasurable experience, and you want people just to feel good. But that is not an easy thing to do. And really, our job is to try and look at each one of those individual experiences and make sure that we're giving somebody good value and at the same time a good experience.
And speaking of value, we were just talking a few weeks ago on the show about how when you look at the room that you can get here at the Rio, this is one of the best values in all of Las Vegas. Do you plan on keeping it that way?
That is certainly where we see the opportunity in Vegas. I don't want to slight any of our competitors or say anything ill will. But I think, unfortunately, if you go to many of our competitors and you simply want to just have a bottle of water, it costs $14. And I don't know how, if you take that to, okay, now I want to go have a dinner for 2 at one of their restaurants, it's really hard to get out of there without spending $200 a person or sometimes even more. So I think that unfortunately the market and I don't know what we want to call it, whether it's the middle market or accessible luxury, approachable luxury. There's many different names for it, but there is a market that has been very much overlooked, and I think the value proposition, unfortunately, in this town has gone away. So, whether or not we are, we never consider ourselves to be cheap. That's not how we're looking at the market. We just consider ourselves to hopefully be good value, and that people feel like that they got a great experience. If you can be in a 600 square foot room that's beautiful, and then simultaneously go down and have a good meal at Hash House, or go to Luckley's and have a good meal, go to Lapa Lounge and have a great drink, all by having courteous staff and a smile, and not have to take a mortgage against it. That's the goal, and that's all we're trying to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the rising prices across the board in Las Vegas has been because, well, one property's doing it, so we're going to do it too. Are you trying to buck the economic trend that we've seen here in the city for the past several years?
I don't think we're trying to necessarily buck the trend, but I think what we're focused on is us, and what we're focused on is our customer and our guest, and all we care about is that. And if we can have our guest have an experience here that they leave and feel good about, then like we have done our job, because then that guest is apt to come back, and it is much easier to maintain the guest that you already have and have them be a repeat guest, and and go from there. So that's our focus.
We'll have more with Eric in just a few moments.
And Sean, I want to remind everyone, Vegas Revealed is presented by Level Up Law. You don't have to live in Nevada to get help from Level Up.
Yeah, maybe you're in a situation where there's been a wrongful death case, or been in a motor vehicle accident, even harmed in a rideshare. Call Level Up Law now at 855-LEVEL-UP.
If you've experienced a slip and fall, maybe injured in a place of business or on a construction site, call Level Up Law. They can help.
Even if you have property damage, wind resulting in downed trees, wildfires, water damage, the experienced team over at Level Up can help you.
Go to leveluplaw.com for more information, or call them at 855-LEVEL-UP. That's 855-LEVEL-UP. A lot of our listeners, a lot of our viewers, people online always ask questions about the rewards program. What kind of, and it's interesting because, we have a lot of, big companies, MGM owns a lot of properties, Caesars owns a lot of properties, and people seem to know their reward program. What, are you going to offer anything that's different, or is there a vision there?
We certainly have a vision. I mean, right now, I would say that we have the most competitive and most attractive rewards program, if not the most competitive and attractive rewards program in the market, hands down. So we have been, I don't want to know if the right word is aggressive, but I guess aggressive. And we have the best rewards program, like bar none, in the market, period.
In terms of entertainment, obviously, Penn and Teller, Chippendales, they have been longtime staples here at the property. What do you plan on your entertainment portfolio looking like over the next few years? Are you adding to it? Are you keeping things as is?
Look, right now we have those staples. So, I mean, we have a Comedy Cellar. Yeah. We have the Wow Theater, we have Penn and Teller, and we have Chippendales. Those four establishments do well and hit a certain market. And from our perspective, we're not looking to replace things that work simply for the sake of replacing them. And not only that, they have endured, candidly, a very long history of neglect at this property. And they're due for some payback, and for having stuck with this place and sticking with us. We want them to be the beneficiaries of that. So we're very much committed to them.
Yeah. They say if it's not broke, right, don't fix it. So
Exactly right.
yeah, yeah, good entertainment here. Definitely for sure. What about any other? I know your focus is the Rio. Do you ever, when you think long term, think about buying up other properties in Las Vegas, or just right now we're just focused on the Rio? I mean, because you are new to the Las Vegas
Right.
area, and I think a lot of people find that really interesting.
Look, I think that you got to walk before you run. And then, once you run, then you can, sprint. And I think that we need to execute here and perform, do our job, and get this right. And I think that the lessons, look, we're not perfect and we're going to make mistakes, and we've already made plenty and we're going to continue to. But for us, our job is to look at those mistakes, fix the mistakes, and move on. And continue to refine and get better. So for us, I think if we can execute over the next, year or two, and things are moving in the right direction and we're happy, sure, we will lift our head up and say, okay, is there anything else that we should be doing, that we should be considering? Of course, the long-term vision is to, to build a platform and to have a more robust business here, because we really love the market and we think that there's a lot of opportunity, but we got to do this first. We got to land this plane.
And I know this is probably putting the cart in front of the horse a little bit, but you mentioned the 22 acres of space that you have on this chunk of real estate here off of Flamingo. I know for a long time in the lead up to the A's talking about coming here, that this property was talked about as a potential site for a sporting venue. Is that something that you would still entertain? Not necessarily with baseball, but just sports in general, given the trajectory of sports in the city.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, the 22 acres of excess land that we have is really our ace in the hole, and will ultimately differentiate us relative to many other properties that are out there. We have been more, I guess, reactive versus proactive in thinking about our excess land, because we have so much work to do currently here within the 77 acres that the Rio proper sits on. But that is not to say that we're not thinking about it, and we're in various different conversations with lots of different parties, and we're running many parallel paths. The A's was obviously a fairly public conversation that was out there, and they obviously opted to do something else. But I think what it did do is it forced us to really understand the land that we have and the value that inherently is there. And candidly, I can't think of a better place to ultimately house something. And why I say that and why I think it's so interesting is that many locals, there's a lot of traffic on the Strip. And so to go to an event, it's a real commitment, and signing up to sitting in traffic is not something that many local individuals want to do. The benefit of the Rio is that we abut the Strip, but you don't have to go on it. And in addition to that, we're abutting the Strip, so we also get the benefit of all that transient travel that comes here. So there is no site that has 2,500 keys that have been, completely renovated, that have 4 entertainment venues, that have 14 food and beverage venues, that have everything that we have to offer, where somebody that has, whether it's an arena, a stadium, or some other ancillary use, shouldn't be, all over. And that's just the truth.
Well, before we wrap up, we're sitting in the wine cellar now. I
Yes.
mean, you just revived this space, and it's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. No, look, this was, back in its day, a real spot and a place that people sought out and really came to and celebrated and loved. And, we spoke to many different architects and came up, had all different sorts of ideas. And what we came back to is, look around, it's great. Like, why would you change anything? It needed to be refreshed and revitalized and brought up, to the modern day. But it's an amazing, unique space to have a cocktail, to have a drink, to relax, and to just sort of like take you out of like your daily life. So yeah, we're super excited. The wine cellar, we recently, I guess the official opening of the wine cellar was about 2 weeks ago. So the word is starting to get out. We're happy to host this here. So tell your friends, and we're excited about it.
Well, we're excited about the commitment that you have to this property and to keeping the legacy of the Rio alive, but bringing it to a new generation. And we appreciate the time to sit down and speak with us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Look, I think the final thing that I would say, which is palpable to us and certainly appreciated, is the public sentiment and the sort of the rooting for us to like bring this place back to like what it once was, and for people to appreciate that and to really like buy into what we're doing makes us feel great and like gets us up every day, because this is hard work. We have a team here that is second to none, that are grinding and grinding and grinding, because this is a big ship to turn. But when we hear from the public like that they're noticing and starting to see and appreciate what we're doing, that makes it all worthwhile. So we thank you for taking the time as well.
We really enjoyed being able to ask Eric such a variety of questions, and he was just up for answering anything, and we love that.
Yeah, he gave some really thoughtful responses, which I was excited to hear everything that the answers to everything we were asking.
Yeah. And we wondered when we asked about, is the name going to change, the Rio? And he was like, no, absolutely. And we're like, okay, phew,
Yeah, because you never know.
Yeah.
With redevelopment, with rebranding, is there going to be the possibility of that? But nope, Rio, it always will be.
Yeah. And interesting to hear him talk about the land next door too, or on the property, but right next to the buildings, and I feel like his wheels are turning on that.
Well, and you could tell from his response where he was like, there are so many uses that would be great for this parcel of property. So it'll be interesting in the years to come to see, which idea tops the list.
I know. And I think a lot of our listeners are now going to head over there to check out that rewards program and look into it.
No kidding.
Because he says it's one of the best, or the best, didn't he say? So.
Absolutely. And that center bar, the Lapa Lounge, is, we're told that is going to be really nice.
Yeah.
A great spot to, go grab a cocktail if you're going up to Voodoo Steakhouse for dinner, or, whatever it may be, but a great place to pop into.
Yeah. We'll keep you updated on the Rio. And I also want everyone to know that was pretty much the raw interview. There were really no cuts made on that interview. I think I took out a section at the end when we were just having a casual conversation. We kind of wrapped up the interview, maybe took out a long space in between some of the questions, or, a long pause so you didn't have to sit there and wait. But other than that, that was our interview.
Yeah, that was our conversation.
So we're going to put that on our YouTube. So this is going to be in our Vegas Revealed TV show that airs on Fox 5. We put those on our YouTube, so it'll probably be on there by Monday, April 22nd. You can go to the Vegas Revealed YouTube channel, and that's where you'll be able to visually see this interview.
And be sure to subscribe and get notifications on our Vegas Revealed YouTube channel as well, so that you'll get a little alert whenever we have a new show popping up there for you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks again to Level Up Law for presenting the Vegas Revealed podcast on television and audio, and the Vegas Near Me app. Download it. It's free. They sponsor our audio podcast too.
We will be back with you next week for episode 218 of Vegas Revealed.